Alright, so we're going to continue our discussion into place value. Very important concept. You'll use place value all through school, most notably with money and different things in the future. So let's get on looking at place value. So in yesterday's video, we did the place value of 2 digits, which is pretty simple. So if you have 2 digits such as 34, the 3 is in the tens place and the 4 is in the ones place. So let's label those with a T and a O. So if 3 is in the tens place, how many groups of 10 do you think we have? Right. 3. 3 groups of 10. And we're gonna do a plus because we add them together to get the number 34. So how many groups of 1 do we have? Right, 4. 4 groups of 1. So if we have 3 groups of 10, that gives us 30. And if we have 4 groups of 1, that gives us 4. So if we add those together, like I said earlier, we get 34. So I know that this is a times, but when we're thinking place value, don't think of it as times. Think of it as meaning groups of, which is really what times means. But if you're ever asked to explain this, this is 3 groups of 10, not 3 times 10. All right. So we've looked at 2-digit place value. Now let's look at 3-digit place value. So this is where it gets a little interesting. So if we have a number such as 272, so this 2 is in the hundreds place. So we have 2 groups of 100 plus this 7 is in the tens place. So we have 7 groups of 10 plus this, the last 2, is in the ones place. So we have 2 groups of 1. So 2 groups of 100 for that, 7 groups of 10 for that, and 2 groups of 1 for that number. So if we look, 2 groups of 100 is 200. 7 groups of 10 is 70. And 2 groups of 1 is 2. So if we add those all up, we get 272, which is the number that we started with. All right. So this is expanded notation. This is standard notation. And this is just the number that we started with. All right. So let's look at another example, another basic example before we get to the more tricky stuff. So let's look at 453. And I wrote that really small, but hopefully you can see it. And I see that you can. So if I start off by saying what place is the 5 in, you would say the tens place, right? So we're going to label that T. The 3 is in the ones place, so we're going to label that O. And the 4 is in the hundreds place, so we're going to label that H. HTO. So, since the 4 is in the hundreds place, that means that we have 4 groups of 100. The 5 is in tens place, so we have 5 groups of 10. And the 3 is in the ones place, so we have 3 groups of 1. And if you're going to write that in expanded notation, you need to have a plus sign between these 3 simple equations, I guess you could say. So 4 groups of 100 is 400. 5 groups of 10 is 50. And 3 groups of 1 is 3. Plus and plus. And that is the standard notation. And now, if we add those together, we get 453. And that's the number that we started with. So that's how we know we got it right. Alright. So let's look at one of the tricky examples I was talking about. So if we have 603, okay, I've noticed a lot of people have tripped up on this. So the 6 is in the hundreds place. So we have 6 groups of 100. And the 0 is in the tens place. So usually you're going to see this as just nothing's there. But if you write it out, it probably won't be wrong if you put 0 groups of 10. And then the 3 is in the ones place. So 3 groups of 1. And of course put a plus sign between all 3 of those. And it can also be written like this. 6 groups of 100 plus 3 groups of 1. Either way is fine. On a multiple choice test, you're more likely to see it like this. But just know that that's why. You can't just discount this 0. And you have to pay attention to your place value. I've seen a lot. 6 groups of 100, 3 groups of 10. But then what do you have in the ones place? And if you look here, the 3 is in the ones place, so it can't be 3 groups of 10. So that's one of the tricky examples I'm talking about. So if we look, we've got 600 plus 3, which is 603. And if we do that in our normal way, like this, we get 306. And if I could write a good 6, that's what we started with. 603. Now, to take that concept and shift the 0, consequently, if we had something like 720, we would have 7 groups of 10. 7 groups of 100 and 2 groups of 10. And if you want to do this, you're not hurting my feelings, 0 groups of 1. But the way you'll usually see this is 7 groups of 100 plus 2 groups of 10. And if we multiply those, even though you don't, it's not multiplication, but 7 100s is 700, and 2 10s is 20. So we got 720, and if we add it, we get 720, which is what we started with. So we know we got it right. And again, if you're ever taking a multiple choice test, you'll probably see it like this. If you write it out in short answer and you write it like this, they might take off a point, but I can't see anybody counting that wrong. Especially not in elementary school. When you get up to high school, if you write it like that, firstly, your classmates will probably laugh at you. But secondly, I still can't imagine you getting it wrong, but your teacher might count off more points. So, I just want you to know the ways that you should do it, so you get full credit. And you show how smart you are. So let's do one more of those, just so we can hammer it home. 802. So the 8 is in the hundreds place. So we've got 8 groups of 100. We have no 10s, and then we have 2 groups of 1. So that would be how you would see it on a multiple choice test, most likely. So 8 groups of 100 is 800, and 2 groups of 1 is 2. So if you add that together, you get 802, just like we started with. Now, we will take that one step further in a later video. I hope you'll join me next time. Place value is a very important concept, very basic concept. But in order to build upon that concept, you have to know the basics. So until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Peace.